Hi and welcome back to the Gydeline compliance journey as we make our way through our own compliance for Gydeline. Last time we looked at setting our priorities and we created the first baseline assessment. If you remember, the priorities for Gydeline were that people was our most important area. So today we're going to look at starting our people assessment. Now we can get to the assessment in a couple of ways. We can go to the main dashboard and click anywhere in the people area, or we can go to My Assessment on the left hand menu and we can choose People from this screen. You may notice that some of these areas are showing a percentage already, even though we haven't completed any of these assessments. That's because the Gydeline system makes some basic assumptions about you and your organisation. As you work through and update your assessment, these will become more closely aligned to the actual position of your organisation. So let's go to the assessment for people for Gydeline. The first page of all the assessments are pre-populated and can't be changed. And this is because we already completed that overview section as part of the baseline assessment. So the answers are pre-filled for us. Let's go ahead and click Next. So this video we're going to concentrate on completing the recruitment assessment and then having a look to see what actions come as a result of that. So in terms of who does the recruiting for Gydeline, we do it ourselves. And where do we find people? Well, via advertising, and primarily that's it, advertising and word of mouth really. So for which of the following do we have a documented process which we share with relevant parties? Well, as we currently stand, we have parts of these, but we can't honestly say that we have a fully documented process. So I'm going to leave those blank at this moment. Have we checked the wording of job descriptions or adverts to ensure they do not overtly or inadvertently discriminate? At this point, we haven't. When we advertise a position, which of the following channels do we use? Well, we'd certainly put it on our website and our intranet. And we'd also put it on our social media. I think for us that would probably be about it. And which social media channels will we use? Well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn probably. When we interview people, do we ask candidates about any of the following? At Gydeline we have quite a different interview process, and it's more of a prove what you can do rather than come and do a Q&A with us. However, we would ask people if they have children. We'd want to make sure that we positively support that. We might ask people, I think that's probably the only one out of those questions that we would ask people. When we make a job offer to the candidate, do we explain? Well, when we've done it in writing. It has the job title, it has confirmation of the offer, it states any conditions, the salary. Working time is an interesting one because at Gydeline we have a contribution based system rather than something based on hours, so that's something we're going to need to review. It does describe pension arrangements, it does describe who to contact and the process to decline. The probationary period is in that, and the start date and the location of work. Again, much like the working time, holiday entitlement is an interesting one in the Gydeline situation. Do we ensure that all applicants confirm their acceptance of a job offer in writing? Yes, we do. Do we have a process to check a person's right to work in the UK before you employ them? We haven't specifically documented that. We obviously know all of the steps and everything that's required, but we don't currently have that documented. Do we do DBS or criminal records checks? Not at the moment, but if we were employing people to work on specific sensitive information, then we might do those. Do we have a policy on employing ex-offenders? We don't at the moment. Which of the following information do we ask for when we take up references? At the moment, we'd have to just say other and say we ask for a general reference. We don't ask for specific items. So, for the purposes of this assessment, that is the recruitment section completed. When you're working through this for your organisation, you may see a different set of options. The assessment is dynamic and will change depending on what your organisation does and doesn't do. So I'm going to save that assessment now, and then we're going to return to the dashboard so that we can have a look and see what actions that has generated. You'll notice the assessment progress has moved from 6 to 9%, and if I go to our to-do list and I look at people and recruit and we apply that filter, we can see that that assessment has resulted in 12 actions that we must complete. We have 6 that we must do because those are required by law, and then we've got another 6 that we really should do because they are, if not required by law, they are certainly best practice and things we should do. So we need to make sure that we can inform HMRC, we need to do right to work checks, we need to make sure that we don't discriminate, we need to undertake criminal records checks, we need to get our job documentation in order, we need to share our benefits and conditions. If we are employing students and part-time workers, we need to make sure that we see evidence of their study and their holiday dates. And we need to share various processes, whether it's pay increases, selection, redundancy or promotion processes. And we need to implement a step in our procedure to refresh right to work checks at the given time. So that's it for this video. I hope that's given you an insight into assessing recruitment, and we'll be covering all those actions in a future video and how we do them. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and we hope you find your compliance simple.